Acceptance of life's reality after the age of 60 is not just an idea, it becomes a necessity for a peaceful and contented mind. At this stage of life, people often find themselves reflecting on the years gone by, their achievements, failures, relationships, and the inevitable changes that come with aging. The body no longer has the same energy it once did, health becomes a frequent topic of concern, and friends, relatives, or even life partners may no longer be present. In such moments, the mind can either choose resistance, which breeds frustration, or choose acceptance, which leads to peace. Acceptance does not mean giving up. Rather, it means recognizing the realities of life, embracing them with dignity, and living with wisdom that only comes from experience. When someone reaches 60, they have already witnessed the various shades of life: joy, sorrow, gain, loss, love, betrayal, success, and failure. By this age, most of the major battles have already been fought, and the desire for more often creates unnecessary stress. Acceptance allows a person to shift their perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is my health not like before?" or "Why didn't my life turn out differently?" the peaceful mind learns to say, "This is the natural flow of life, and I will make the best of what I have now." This small shift is powerful enough to change one's inner world. The physical body may weaken, but the soul and wisdom grow stronger when one stops fighting with what cannot be changed. Acceptance also means being kind to yourself and your past. Many people over 60 carry regrets that weigh heavily on their hearts. They think about missed opportunities, mistakes made in relationships, or dreams that were never fulfilled. While regret is natural, living with it only steals the present moment. The wisdom of acceptance teaches that the past cannot be rewritten, but the present can be lived with joy. When a person forgives themselves and accepts their life story as it is, they open the door to peace. The scars of the past then become lessons instead of wounds, and every mistake becomes proof of resilience rather than a source of shame. Another aspect of acceptance is understanding mortality. At 60 and beyond, thoughts of death are inevitable, but resisting them only brings fear. Acceptance of mortality gives strength to live each day more fully. Instead of fearing the end, one can appreciate the gift of still being alive, of having time to smile, to pray, to love, and to connect. People who accept the natural cycle of life, birth, growth, aging, and death, carry less anxiety in their hearts. They know that death is not a thief but a natural transition, and this perspective makes the present moment more precious. Acceptance also extends to relationships. By 60, children are often grown, living their own lives, and sometimes this creates feelings of loneliness or abandonment. A parent who cannot accept this change may feel hurt and bitter. But a parent who accepts reality understands that this is the natural order, that children too must grow and live independently. This acceptance allows one to redefine relationships. Instead of clinging to expectations, one finds joy in the freedom of watching loved ones flourish. It is about cherishing whatever moments are shared without demanding how or when they should happen. Peaceful relationships are born not from control, but from acceptance. In addition, acceptance involves adapting to the body's changes. Health may not be the same, illnesses or physical limitations might appear. For some, this can be depressing. But those who accept their body with compassion and gratitude discover a new kind of strength. They may not be able to run, but they can walk slowly and admire nature. They may not be able to work long hours, but they can dedicate time to prayer, hobbies, or community. Instead of comparing themselves with their younger self, they celebrate the wisdom of age. This mindset replaces frustration with peace. Acceptance of life also reduces comparison with others. At 60, people sometimes feel envious when they see peers who are healthier, wealthier, or surrounded by family. But acceptance teaches that every life has its own story, its own struggles, and its own blessings. By focusing on their own path instead of others, one finds contentment. A peaceful mind does not ask, "Why don't I have what they have?" but instead says, "I have enough for my journey." This shift eliminates jealousy and nurtures gratitude. A very important dimension of acceptance is the balance between holding on and letting go. Life after 60 demands that we let go of certain attachments, whether material, emotional, or social, that no longer serve peace. Clutter in the home, toxic relationships, or old grudges only weigh down the heart. Accepting that not everything is meant to be kept forever frees the soul. At the same time, acceptance also means holding on to what truly matters: faith, love, kindness, and meaningful memories. This balance is what creates harmony in the later years. Acceptance also connects deeply with spirituality. Many traditions teach that surrendering to God's will brings peace. After 60, people often feel closer to spirituality, realizing that material pursuits alone cannot satisfy the soul. Acceptance here means trusting that everything in life, both good and bad, happens for a reason. With this trust, one stops questioning every hardship and instead focuses on inner growth. The mind becomes calmer because it no longer carries the burden of constant resistance to fate. Ultimately, acceptance of life's reality after 60 transforms the way one sees time. Instead of dreading the future or clinging desperately to the past, one lives in the present with serenity. Each sunrise becomes a blessing, each conversation a treasure, and each breath a gift. The pace of life slows down, but the richness of experience deepens. The world may see old age as decline, but acceptance allows an individual to see it as the golden era of wisdom, reflection, and inner peace. A peaceful mind after 60 is not built by chasing what is lost but by accepting what remains and making it beautiful. Acceptance does not take away challenges, but it changes how one experiences them. It allows a person to smile despite wrinkles, to feel gratitude despite limitations, and to find meaning despite endings. When the heart accepts life as it is, peace naturally blossoms, and one becomes a source of light and calmness not only for themselves but also for everyone around them. Gratitude practice after the age of 60 is like a gentle medicine for the heart and mind, a secret key that unlocks deep inner peace. When a person has crossed 60 years, they have already experienced countless ups and downs. They may have tasted success, endured losses, seen children grow, and witnessed the departure of loved ones. The body may not be as strong, and the pace of life may have slowed, but the treasure of gratitude can fill every moment with light. Gratitude is not just saying thank you, it is a way of seeing life. It is the ability to focus on what is present rather than what is missing, to see blessings where others see nothing, and to celebrate the small gifts that make each day meaningful. At this stage of life, one of the most powerful benefits of gratitude is that it shifts attention away from regret. Many older people look back at their lives with sorrow about what could have been different. They may wish they had earned more, traveled more, loved better, or avoided mistakes. Regret, however, is like a heavy chain that keeps the mind restless. Gratitude breaks this chain. Instead of lamenting what did not happen, gratitude shines a light on what did happen. It reminds a person that they had moments of joy, companionship, growth, and survival. A grateful heart can look at scars not as permanent wounds but as reminders of resilience. By choosing to dwell on blessings rather than losses, a person finds peace. Gratitude also plays an important role in health and emotional well-being. Research has shown that people who practice gratitude regularly experience less stress, better sleep, and stronger immune systems. For someone after 60, when health concerns become frequent, gratitude offers a natural therapy. Instead of worrying constantly about what the body cannot do, gratitude focuses on what it still can. The simple act of being thankful for the ability to walk, breathe, hear, or see, even if imperfect, creates contentment. Each morning becomes a gift, each meal a blessing, and each heartbeat a miracle. When one appreciates these small things, the mind becomes calmer, and even pain loses its sharpness. Another aspect of gratitude is its power to transform relationships. By 60, many people face loneliness, especially if their children have moved away or if friends and loved ones have passed on. Gratitude helps in nurturing the relationships that remain. When one learns to appreciate the kindness of neighbors, the companionship of a spouse, the occasional call from a child, or even the smile of a stranger, life feels fuller. Gratitude reduces expectations and replaces complaints with appreciation. Instead of saying, "My children don't visit me enough," a grateful parent says, "I am thankful they are alive, healthy, and sometimes remember me." This shift strengthens bonds and brings more joy into interactions. Gratitude also helps in accepting the present moment. Life after 60 often involves letting go of ambitions and adjusting to new limitations. Gratitude helps in seeing beauty in simplicity. A cup of tea in the morning sun, a walk in the park, the sound of birds, or even the warmth of a blanket on a cold night can become sources of joy when seen through the eyes of gratitude. Instead of searching for grand achievements, a grateful mind finds wonder in small details. This practice creates a gentle rhythm of life where peace replaces restlessness. Spirituality and gratitude also go hand in hand. After 60, many people naturally move closer to faith, prayer, or meditation. Gratitude deepens this connection. By thanking God or the universe for every blessing, whether big or small, one develops trust in the divine plan. Even hardships can be seen as opportunities for growth. A grateful heart prays not only for more but also for the ability to appreciate what has already been given. This surrender strengthens inner peace and reduces the constant craving for more. Gratitude transforms faith from mere ritual into a living experience of appreciation. Practicing gratitude does not always require big gestures. Simple daily habits can nurture it. Writing down 3 things to be thankful for each day, saying a prayer of thanks before sleeping, or simply pausing during the day to appreciate the present moment. All these practices build a peaceful mind. For someone after 60, even reflecting on memories with gratitude is powerful. Looking at old photographs, recalling journeys, or remembering people who touched their life creates a warm feeling of thankfulness. These reflections act as reminders that life has been meaningful and abundant, no matter the challenges. One of the hidden powers of gratitude is that it changes the way the mind interprets difficulties. Challenges do not disappear, but they appear lighter when seen through gratitude. For example, a person may face illness, but gratitude reminds them of the doctors, medicines, and family support they have. A widow or widower may feel lonely, but gratitude highlights the years of companionship they once enjoyed. This reframing does not erase pain, but it reduces bitterness and adds dignity to suffering. Gratitude allows people to suffer with strength and smile through tears. Gratitude also cultivates generosity. When a person is truly thankful for what they have, they naturally develop the desire to share. After 60, many people discover joy in giving, whether it is time, wisdom, or kindness. Gratitude creates a flow where blessings are not just received but also passed on. This act of giving enhances peace of mind, for nothing is more fulfilling than knowing you contributed positively to another person's life. Gratitude teaches that abundance is not measured by wealth but by the richness of spirit. In addition, gratitude protects the heart from negativity. Older people sometimes fall into the trap of constant complaining about health, society, or younger generations. Complaints, however, only fuel restlessness and sadness. Gratitude, on the other hand, creates balance. Instead of saying, "The world is worse than before," a grateful person says, "I am glad I witnessed so many changes and still have wisdom to share." Instead of dwelling on pain, gratitude highlights hope. This habit of focusing on what is right instead of what is wrong keeps the heart light and peaceful. Ultimately, gratitude practice after 60 transforms the way life is experienced. It turns ordinary days into celebrations and gives meaning to the smallest moments. Gratitude brings acceptance, reduces fear, strengthens faith, and nurtures love. It becomes a gentle companion that whispers, "You have enough, you are enough, and life is still full of gifts." A person who carries gratitude in their heart carries peace wherever they go, radiating calmness not only for themselves but also for others. Gratitude is the golden thread that weaves joy into the fabric of aging, proving that even as time passes, the richness of life continues to grow in the eyes of those who are thankful. Spiritual connection after the age of 60 becomes one of the most profound sources of inner peace and fulfillment. At this stage of life, a person has usually experienced enough of the material world to realize that wealth, possessions, and achievements cannot fully satisfy the soul. The body begins to slow down, ambitions become less urgent, and the heart turns toward deeper questions of existence. People begin to ask themselves what the purpose of life is, what lies beyond death, and how they can find lasting calmness within. Spirituality answers these questions not through material gain but through inner awakening, trust in a higher power, and a sense of belonging to something greater than the self. For many, this connection is the ultimate secret to a peaceful mind. The essence of spiritual connection is not confined to rituals or traditions alone, though those can play a role. It is about feeling a direct relationship with the divine, the universe, or a higher purpose. After 60, when life has been full of struggles, victories, and losses, spirituality offers comfort in knowing that nothing was meaningless. Every event, whether joyful or painful, becomes part of a larger design. This understanding relieves the heart from constant worry and regret. A spiritually connected person no longer asks, "Why did this happen to me?" but instead says, "There must be wisdom behind this, even if I do not yet see it." Such surrender brings peace that no amount of worldly power can provide. Prayer, meditation, and reflection often become central practices at this stage. For many, prayer is not just a request for blessings but a conversation with the divine, a way to share gratitude, pain, and hopes. Meditation, whether in silence, through breathing, or by focusing on sacred words, allows the mind to quiet down and reconnect with the soul. Reflection, on the other hand, helps one see the past with acceptance and the present with awareness. Together, these practices create a sanctuary of peace within, accessible anytime and anywhere, regardless of external circumstances. One of the greatest gifts of spiritual connection after 60 is freedom from fear of death. Mortality, once a terrifying thought, becomes more acceptable when one feels spiritually grounded. Instead of seeing death as an end, a spiritually connected person sees it as a transition, a return to the source, or a journey into a higher reality. This perspective removes the anxiety that often haunts old age. Instead of dreading the unknown, one begins to live each day with a sense of preparation, gratitude, and serenity. Spirituality teaches that the soul is eternal, and this belief strengthens the heart against despair. Spiritual connection also brings comfort in times of loneliness. Many older people find themselves isolated as children move away or friends pass on. The absence of companionship can feel painful, but spirituality fills this void with a deeper presence. A person who turns inward discovers they are never truly alone, the divine is always near. Prayer and meditation become companions, and faith becomes a friend. The silence of an empty house transforms into sacred quietness when one learns to see it as a space for communion with the divine. Loneliness softens when one feels held by something greater. In addition, spirituality encourages forgiveness, which is essential for peace after 60. Many people carry old wounds, grudges, or regrets. These emotional burdens weigh heavily on the heart and steal the joy of later years. Spiritual connection teaches compassion and letting go. By seeing others as fellow human beings with their own struggles, one finds it easier to forgive. By trusting that justice belongs to the divine, one no longer feels the need for revenge. Forgiveness then becomes an act of liberation, freeing both the forgiver and the forgiven. This spiritual approach allows the heart to heal, making room for peace and lightness. Spirituality also enriches relationships with others. A spiritually connected person radiates calmness, patience, and kindness. They no longer expect perfection from others but instead value presence, love, and sincerity. After 60, this approach strengthens bonds with family, friends, and community. Instead of criticizing younger generations, a spiritually grounded elder offers guidance with gentleness and understanding. Such presence becomes a source of inspiration, showing others how to age with grace and wisdom. In this way, spirituality not only benefits the individual but also uplifts everyone around them. Another important aspect of spiritual connection is gratitude. When one views life through the lens of spirituality, even ordinary moments appear sacred. A meal is not just food but a blessing, a conversation is not just words but a gift of connection, and a sunrise is not just light but a sign of divine beauty. Gratitude becomes second nature because every experience is seen as part of a divine plan. This mindset protects the heart from negativity and allows joy to flow freely. A spiritually connected person wakes up each day with the thought, "I have been given another chance to live, to love, and to grow." Spiritual practices also provide strength during illness. Physical decline is inevitable after 60, but spirituality transforms how one experiences it. Instead of feeling helpless, a spiritually grounded person accepts illness as part of life's journey, finding meaning even in suffering. Prayer and meditation reduce anxiety, faith strengthens resilience, and trust in the divine gives courage. This does not mean denying pain but facing it with dignity. The body may weaken, but the spirit grows stronger. This balance creates peace even in the face of difficulty. Spiritual connection also expands awareness beyond the self. It teaches that life is not just about personal gain but about service, compassion, and contributing to others. After 60, many people find joy in helping, guiding, or mentoring. This sense of purpose renews energy and makes life meaningful. A spiritually connected person sees their wisdom as a gift to share, their presence as a comfort to offer, and their time as an opportunity to bless others. This shift from, "What do I still want from life?" to, "What can I still give to life?" is one of the deepest sources of peace. Ultimately, spiritual connection after 60 weaves all experiences, joys, sorrows, hopes, and fears, into harmony. It provides answers where logic fails and comfort where words cannot reach. It helps a person accept the past, live in the present, and prepare for the future with calmness. It makes each breath feel purposeful and each day worth living. Spirituality turns aging from a decline into a sacred journey, transforming the mind from restless to peaceful and the heart from heavy to light. A spiritually connected elder becomes like a candle, glowing quietly and illuminating the path for others. Healthy relationships after the age of 60 are among the most valuable treasures a person can possess, because at this stage of life, material possessions, professional titles, and worldly achievements lose much of their meaning, but the warmth of companionship remains deeply nourishing. A peaceful mind in later years is closely tied to the quality of one's connections with family, friends, community, and even oneself. Relationships, when cultivated with care, become sources of strength, comfort, and joy, protecting against loneliness and giving life a deeper sense of purpose. The importance of nurturing healthy relationships cannot be overstated, for they act like an anchor that keeps the heart stable in the shifting tides of old age. At 60 and beyond, people often face changes in their social circles. Children grow up and begin their own lives, friends may move away or pass on, and the daily interactions once provided by work or community involvement may no longer exist. This transition can feel like a void if one clings to old expectations, but it can also be an opportunity to redefine relationships. Instead of expecting constant presence or support from children, one can focus on the quality of the moments shared. A simple phone call, a visit, or even a kind message can be appreciated as valuable gifts when viewed with gratitude. By letting go of excessive demands and embracing realistic expectations, relationships remain harmonious and full of peace. Healthy relationships after 60 also require forgiveness. Over the decades, misunderstandings, disagreements, and hurt feelings naturally accumulate. If these wounds remain unresolved, they can poison the heart with bitterness. Forgiveness becomes essential, not only for others but for oneself. By forgiving children for their shortcomings, siblings for old rivalries, or even friends for past disappointments, one creates space for love to flow again. Carrying resentment only adds weight to the later years, but letting go brings relief and freedom. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or approving of wrongs, but it means choosing peace over pain. This choice strengthens relationships and brings calmness to the heart. Another key to healthy relationships is communication. After 60, people may sometimes withdraw into silence, assuming that others no longer value their opinions or presence. Yet healthy bonds thrive on open, gentle, and honest communication. Expressing love, sharing wisdom, and even speaking openly about needs or boundaries keeps relationships alive. For example, telling a child, "I miss you," is more constructive than silently feeling neglected. Likewise, showing appreciation, saying, "Thank you for your time," or, "I am grateful for your care," deepens bonds. Communication becomes less about controlling others and more about sharing the heart sincerely. Companionship in later life also carries immense value. Whether through a spouse, a sibling, a lifelong friend, or even a neighbor, the presence of someone to talk to and share daily life with eases the loneliness that can creep in. Healthy companionship is not about grand gestures but about simple presence. Drinking tea together, walking in the park, or discussing memories can bring immense joy. Even when physical strength declines, emotional connection sustains vitality. A gentle laugh, a warm touch, or a kind word nourishes the spirit in ways that material comforts never could. Healthy relationships also extend to the community. After 60, involvement in local groups, volunteer work, or spiritual gatherings provides opportunities to connect and give back. Engaging with others in meaningful ways reduces isolation and creates a sense of belonging. Sharing wisdom, mentoring younger generations, or simply offering a listening ear can transform ordinary connections into bonds of love and respect. These interactions remind a person that they still have a role to play, that their presence still matters, and that life continues to have meaning through relationships. Equally important is the relationship one maintains with oneself. A peaceful mind requires self-compassion and kindness toward one's own journey. Often, older people are harsh on themselves, criticizing their physical decline, regretting mistakes, or feeling unworthy of attention. This inner conflict damages both peace and relationships with others. A healthier approach is to treat oneself with gentleness, to acknowledge past efforts, and to honor the resilience that carried one through decades of life. When one is at peace within, it becomes easier to share love outwardly. The relationship with the self sets the tone for all other connections. Healthy relationships after 60 also thrive on balance. It is important to remain connected but not dependent, supportive but not controlling. For instance, older parents sometimes struggle to accept that their children have their own responsibilities and cannot always be available. By respecting their independence while offering love without conditions, relationships remain strong. Balance also means knowing when to give and when to receive. Accepting help gracefully without feeling like a burden allows others to show their love. Similarly, offering help when possible keeps bonds alive and meaningful. Trust is another foundation of strong relationships in later life. As vulnerability increases with age, trusting others becomes essential. Trusting family members with decisions, trusting friends with secrets, or trusting caregivers with health fosters a sense of safety. Distrust, on the other hand, breeds anxiety and distance. Building trust requires openness, honesty, and faith in the goodwill of others. Even if disappointments arise, a general attitude of trust creates more harmony than constant suspicion. Healthy relationships also involve creating positive memories. After 60, time feels more precious, and every shared experience can become a cherished treasure. Planning simple family gatherings, celebrating small milestones, or sharing stories from the past strengthens bonds across generations. Grandchildren, in particular, benefit greatly from the presence of loving elders. By spending time with them, sharing values, and offering unconditional love, elders not only enrich the lives of the young but also feel renewed joy in their own hearts. These moments, however small, create a legacy of love that lives on beyond one's lifetime. Another aspect of healthy relationships is emotional support. Life after 60 may bring illness, loss of loved ones, or reduced independence. Having someone to share these struggles with makes the journey lighter. A kind word from a spouse, encouragement from a child, or empathy from a friend can transform despair into hope. At the same time, offering emotional support to others strengthens bonds. Listening without judgment, offering prayers, or simply being present shows care that words alone cannot express. Mutual support is what makes relationships meaningful and healing. Finally, healthy relationships are built on love expressed through small acts of kindness. A gentle smile, a hug, preparing a meal, or writing a note of appreciation keeps the heart warm. Love at this age does not need drama or intensity. It thrives in consistency, gentleness, and presence. These small gestures, when repeated daily, weave a fabric of connection that protects the heart from loneliness and keeps the mind peaceful. In the end, healthy relationships after 60 become the true wealth of life. They are the mirrors in which one sees their worth, the hands that hold them in weakness, and the voices that remind them they are loved. A peaceful mind is nourished not by solitude alone but by the joy of companionship, the strength of trust, the warmth of forgiveness, and the light of shared love. When relationships are cultivated with care, old age becomes not a time of decline but a season of deep connection, where the heart is at rest because it is surrounded by bonds of affection and understanding.